Have you ever felt stuck, constantly chasing for motivation, struggling to focus? Stay here in this video with me, that I'm gonna explain to you how dopamine works in your system and what you can do just to start change it today. So you might be asking yourself, what's dopamine? What does it do in your system? Why there's so many people talking about it? Because dopamine is a chemical in your system that controls crave, how you feel, how driven you are, and how long you can actually focus. But it's not just about pleasure, you know? Your brain just uses dopamine as just progress work and also time. When dopamine is released in your system, your brain tells you, oh, that's good, I just need more of it. That's how your habits forms, that's how the motivation comes to you, that's how addictions form, and then how your future gets built, or maybe destroyed. But here's the problem, people are constantly chasing for more just dopamine, like scrolling, porn, fast food, energy drinks, everything just release dopamine in your body. People are just like addicted to it because it gives motivation. It's just like wants to make you to do more. But when you're spiking your dopamine too high, your baseline of dopamine in your system drops, you know, and that's where the danger is. Which I mean by that is just like you feel less motivated, you feel bored more often, and then you need more stimulation just to feel normal, just to do the normal activities in your day. And this is how people just get stuck, you know, people feel unmotivated, people are always chasing for comfort, and then people are just unable to build discipline as well, which is one of the things that is just most important in life, you know. As long as you got discipline, your life becomes so much easier to achieve your goals. I just want to give you some examples what activities in your day can actually increase your dopamine levels. Like chocolate, for example, it gives like 1.5 dopamine boost in your system, but it's just like those pump and dump. It's just like it pushes you up, but as soon as you just finish it, it just brings you down, you know, type of dopamine that you don't actually want. You're gonna feel that much pleasure right in the beginning, but it's just gonna drop straight away. Like nicotine, if you just like smoke cigarette, it's just gonna give you like a big spike of dopamine as well, like 2 times in your normal level, but then it's just like quick, it's just gonna drop it again. And another thing that gives you a big peak of dopamine as well is just like exercises, you know. When you go to the gym, when you do exercise that you actually love, if you don't like it, you're not gonna have as much as dopamine, you know. And then if you do like exercise at the gym, you know, if you go to the gym and then you love what you're doing, let's just make it clear, you know, because people that don't actually enjoy doing exercises, they are not gonna have that peak of dopamine, you know. But if you're actually enjoying what you're doing, you can get up to 2.5 levels of dopamine in your body. And then there is one thing that I just love the most, which I'm gonna talk about later, which is just cold shower. But stay here in this video with me, then I'm just gonna talk to you about that a little bit later in the video. Here's the thing where the things get worse, you know, because when you go to the gym, people who actually don't enjoy doing exercises, they're always looking for the stimulants, you know. So just like they take pre-workout, they just like put the loud music that they like, they just drink a coffee, they just have like a can of energy drink. But the more you actually, you know, put these stimulants in your body, the more difficult it will be to actually practice the exercise, you know. That's gonna be just less pleasurable. But it's just like, it might feel amazing at the moment, but when the whole thing just drops, you're gonna have like that big drop in your dopamine level. Your motivation is just gonna be gone. And then just like a few days later, you're just gonna feel like unmotivated. You're not gonna have the discipline. And then you're always gonna be chasing for more stimulants. You know, you're just gonna chase it for more pre-workout. Sometimes you just like take 1 scoop of pre-workout, but now you need to take 2 scoops of pre-workout, you know, and then things just get worse. So that's why it's just like you need to be able to just to control the dopamine that you use in your body. Otherwise, it can be a dangerous thing. But there is one thing that I love the most about dopamine, you know, because you're probably thinking, oh, he's just like talking to me the bad sides of dopamine, you know. But here's one thing that I just love the most. Have you ever had like a cold shower? It's just like cold shower is one of the things that it can give you so much like good dopamine, you know. It's not like those ones that I just mentioned. It's not just like, you know, chocolate or just like dopamine, those addictions that it gives you like a big spike of dopamine and just like, you know, it just drops. You know, for example, when you have like a cold shower in the morning, it can be anywhere, you know. It's just like, it doesn't have to be like in the morning. Anytime that you just like a cold shower or you just use those ice baths, it's just gonna give you 2.5 times more dopamine in your body, and then it's just gonna be sustained up there, you know. What's gonna happen is you're just gonna have your dopamine level just right here, and then your dopamine level when you're just like having a cold shower is just gonna go like that, like a big wave, a constant wave, you know. So it's just like when you leave cold shower or just like an ice bath, your levels of dopamine is gonna stay up higher here, you know, so for up to 3 hours, you know. So every time that you actually have a cold shower or you have like an ice bath, When you actually leave the ice bath or the cold shower, you're gonna feel like you're motivated to do anything that you have to do for up to 3 hours, so that's the good dopamine that you can have in your body. And that's one thing I personally do like every morning, because I wake up very early to go to the gym, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I feel like, I just don't want to do that. I don't feel like motivated. I just want to go back to bed. I've been there and I know how it is. When that feeling comes in place, I just go straight to the cold shower, which is just like helps me so much. And that's one thing that you can actually do to start it today. You can just like, if you go to the gym, you're always chasing for like big stimulants, just stop chasing them. Just like try to do a workout that you actually enjoy. Just like if you're taking like 2 to 3 like scoops of pre-workout, like a can of energy drink before going to the gym, just give it a test without going without it. And you'll probably tell me like, oh, I just don't feel motivated to go to the gym, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. Just have a cold shower. Just have a cold shower before you go to the gym, and you're gonna feel that motivation coming. And then the real secret is not like avoiding dopamine. It's just like shower. You gotta know how to use it right, basically. Stop chasing for dopamine before the effort, like energy drinks before the workouts. You want the dopamine to be built during the effort, You gotta have the mindset. Just come to you and say like, I'm gonna feel motivated. I'm gonna enjoy doing this exercise. I'm gonna enjoy doing this work. Just like use your brain to actually release dopamine when you are actually doing the work. That's how you build sustainable motivation. Because when you only focus on the reward at the end of your work, like the whole process to get to that is gonna be so much painful. But when we enjoy the process, like I love the effort, I love the work, I love what I'm doing, things are gonna become so much easier. And then that's when your body's gonna start releasing dopamine during the process, then that's gonna be so much more enjoyable. And then if you're looking for just stop like the procrastination in your life and start being more disciplined, I'm just gonna leave the link here so you can watch my last video where I showed you how to stop the procrastination and how you can be better in your life. And that's basically it. I'll see you on the next one.